Locked in my head, romanticizing forever. Last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Diving at first and all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? My God, don't we look good together? I should be running away, but so what, whatever. Oh, last love I found, knees met the ground and all my roses died. Swore I was through, but looking at you, I think I changed my mind. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Diving at first and all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? You're a bad idea. Oh, but every time I see you, all reason and logic cut their losses. Yeah, let's fall in love for the fun of it. Diving at first and all of it. Oh, what a rush, looking into your eyes, playing it off like it's different this time. Let's break our own hearts for the fun of it. One look and I'm dying to run the risk. I'll live in your head for the rest of your life. Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine? Oh, won't you be my hopeless Valentine?
Big smile, a funny face. Storm cloud or a bit of shade. I died of fashionably late. Out of my mind, or barely sane. I'm trying to catch a breath, but breathing it in. And drumming out the noise, but it's trickling in. Keep me guessing, I wonder if you know. World going round, I'm letting it spin. Light is coming down and it colors your skin. I'ma take a drive to the unknown. 'Cause I wonder what it feels like. Oh, wait a minute, now carry on. Stay down or rise above.
I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop me? I'm breakable. I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop me? I'm breakable.
So Friday here in Porto CERVO, penultimate day of the ROLEX TP52 World Championship. Good breeze and prospect, very much more of the same. Top of the table, well, slightly unexpectedly, is Alpha Plus. They're pledging Groundhog Day, just keep doing what they've been doing so far. We caught up with the navigator, Ian Moore. So Ian, you guys in a great position. How do you approach the next couple of days?
It's just Groundhog Day. You know, it's very cool to be in the position we're in and a little bit unexpected. But we're just going to keep trying to enjoy ourselves, and, you know, we've done a great job getting this far, but, you know, we just got to stay calm and just try and keep sailing the way we've been sailing, and stuff will happen, and, you know, we'll just let it be.
You've all been there before?
Yeah, you know, it's new for some of the team, but honestly, it's you know, the boat's going well. We're sailing, you know, pretty well. But you see great teams out there, going from the front to the back and the back to the front. So it's really hard, and it's very tricky, and anything can happen. So let's treat it like day one and just get out there and enjoy it.
What's the briefing this morning then?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, Groundhog Day. Pressure-wise, it's still pretty soft, you know, building through the day, expecting it to go a little bit right through the day. So it'll be a tough day. Everybody knows what's going to happen. Everybody will be fighting for a very similar thing. So, you know, if you can get off the line and make those first 3 or 4 minutes count, then it sets you in a good spot for the rest of the race. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
What have you been doing right then? What's the keys so far?
Well, the guys have got the boat going really well, you know.
What have you done? Have you changed the keel now, or?
We haven't changed anything between the last regatta. I think that the big thing is that the fleet is now way more even. Like, everybody's got bigger fins, everybody's got better sail package. You look across the fleet, there's not one boat you think, you know, that's an easy target, you know. Everybody is tough. We've seen bigger fleets in the history of the Super Series and the TP52s, but I think this is the strongest fleet we've ever seen, and the most even fleet. It's fantastic. It's really great sailing.
Tell me what Ado brings to the party. I mean, you've sailed with him many times before, but we're watching him. He seems super calm and assured.
Yeah, I mean, Ado's got a huge amount of experience in this fleet, in this venue. He's enjoying sailing with this group of people. Sean's enjoying sailing with him. He's enjoying sailing with Sean, and I think, you know, he's calm. He's in a happy place, and, you know, most tacticians, when their head's in the right place, you know, good things happen. So it's good.
The Odyssey to the top of the mountain, that's an important part of the whole procedure.
It's become a tiny bit of a ritual now. Yeah, we've had a couple of good days by going to climbing the mountain at first thing in the morning and watching the sun come up. So yeah, we'll just have to keep it going.
You've got to keep it going then, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's been great fun as well. It's good exercise.
What's the weather today then? You're saying much the same?
Yeah, obviously another sunny day today. The gradient is a little bit different from yesterday. So the gradient was actually going to be going right during the day. So yeah, subtle differences from yesterday, but breeze strength-wise, very similar.
Let's look back to the highlights from yesterday. Third day of racing here in Sardinia. Top of the table, Paprec with a small lead. It's the midpoint of the regatta. It's going to be a great day. Race number 5 off the World Championship. The breeze is 085, 8 knots in the start line. It's a much more open, even upwind than the previous races of the World Championship so far. Crioula and Prevezza start nicely off the pin end of the line. In the middle of the line, it's no way back, start quite well, but Platoon Aviation get a better start and go a little bit quicker in their early speed build. Out on the left side, the early advantage is with Crioula. Round the top markets, Crioula first, Platoon Aviation second, and Paprec in third. So Crioula come through the finish line with a win. Second are Platoon Aviation, Alpha Plus keeping up their consistency in third, and the leaders of the regatta still Paprec, who finished fourth. So race number 6 into the second half of the regatta. 9 knots of breeze, 100 degrees is the wind angle. Very, very even start this time. The course is much more even. Off the pin end of the line will Gladiator go off the pin. Middle of the upwind, Sled and Alpha Plus are going well up the first beat. Round the top mark, it's Sled leading from Alpha Plus in second. Trinity Racing just round in third. No way back in fourth. And Sled lead through the leeward gate as well in opposite marks. Alpha Plus get the lead on the second upwind, just ahead of Sled. sled through the finishing line. It's a win for Alpha Plus. Sled gets second. No Way Back are third. And it's a great birthday present for Sean Kang, the owner of Alpha Plus. Take the lead of the World Championship on day number 3. So after 6 races, Alpha Plus lead on 31 points. Second, also on 31 points, are Sled. And third, Platoon Aviation on 33 points in third.
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
So there we go, the penultimate day of racing, Friday it is, and they're so tight at the top, only 3 points separating the top 5 boats. More of the same. Ian Moore talked of Groundhog Day, just trying to keep the processes, the procedures the same day in, day out, and treating each day like the first day. One thing which has become a bit of a ritual for some of the guys on the Alpha Plus is this odyssey to the top of the mountain every day, top of the mountain, first thing every morning. Gets the blood flowing, gets the oxygen flowing through the lungs, but it's become a ritual. Top of the world this morning, top of the leaderboard today. Will they be finishing on top of the leaderboard today? And indeed, do the team from Hong Kong have a chance of finishing on top of the leaderboard tomorrow? Momo joining me in the studio once again. Katie Dabson on the water. What's your thoughts on the possibilities for Alpha Plus finishing world champions?
Well, they seem pretty relaxed. They seem to be in good spirits. As Ian Moore said nicely, I think they have been going well. They have been quick, which definitely helps in these races. But yeah, I think they know the challenge ahead of them, and they know that this regatta is far from being in their pocket.
What have they been doing right so far? They seem to have kept things fairly simple, started well. And as Ian said, it's about the first 3 or 4 minutes of each race, making that count, isn't it?
Yeah, keeping things simple, but Katie said it nicely yesterday, they sailing confident. And yesterday in that second race, you could just see that, they didn't go on the defensive. They weren't, just looking behind, but they were actually going on the attack to trying to get the first position from Sled, which they did perfectly, and crossing the finish line in first position was really, really strong.
Katie, your thoughts then? How's the day looking on the water? We saw that first race yesterday was much more open, with Crioula actually winning from the pin end and going left. What's your thoughts for certainly this first race?
So I think for me, first race today is going to be pretty similar to the first race yesterday. The breeze is quite left again, so the windward mark bearing is around 100 degrees. I think the more left the breeze is, the more open the race course is. We've been as we've been sat out here, the boats have been sailing around. We've seen at least 4 different people up the masts on different boats, kind of trying to get a bird's eye view of the race course, trying to see what's going on up there, and I think that's a really sensible move, trying to figure out what sails, what settings, which way they're going to go, where the breeze is. But I think it's going to be more of the same. I think the tacticians are going to have to be kind of like meerkats in this first race, really like head up, like looking around constantly, kind of trying to figure out what the next best move is. And I think it's going to be quite a lot of action in this race. We saw the different sides of the course playing out well in the 2 races yesterday, but do we feel the left might be strong once again in this first race? Yeah, I think it could be. I mean, just looking at wind, the right-hand side potentially has a bit less pressure. There is definitely some patches around. I think it's quite light breeze at the moment. It's sort of 7 to 8 knots, and I do think pressure will be king in this race, potentially more so than a side feature. The breeze is supposed to slowly track right. I don't think it'll be a quick swing. So it's, I think, kind of looking for breeze. Left very much could be strong if there's more pressure on the left. But I think it's, about kind of eyes out the boat and keeping the boat going fast.
In terms of the main contenders, Momo, I think there's a certain woulda, shoulda, coulda for some of them, particularly No Way Back getting that penalty and dropping a couple of places. They would be up in the third if it wasn't for that, and also Paprec being over the start line. What's the balance of risk-reward, or more risk actually today at this stage when points are so tight, but you still have to push?
Well, it's always something to consider, and maybe at the top of the leaderboard now, toning down the risk is also quite important. In these light conditions in the first race, you can see it on the water well, it's quite patchy. Coming off the start line at full speed and really letting that speed build before the start kind of will be the way of pointing your nose forward and being bow forward after the start.
Katie, what's your evaluation of the leaderboard? As I say, we have 3 points only between Alpha Plus in the lead. They're tied on points with Sled and No Way Back in 5th. There's so little in it. What's it going to take in today to be on top of the leaderboard today? At the end of today, sorry.
Yeah, as you say, there is so little in it, and I think Alpha Plus had started with some big scores but have got super kind of low scores yesterday. If they can keep building on that, they seem to have found the formula for kind of consistent and confident racing. If they can keep doing that, then they'll be good. But then you have other boats like Platoon who have avoided the big scores, and they've just been super consistent. So I think if they can continue that as well, they're looking good. But I think it's going to be all about who can not make the big mistakes, and if you are down deep in the fleet, kind of not engaging in the dogfights with people around you and trying to pick your way through. And really, I think this is the stage of the regatta where every single point is so crucial, and we do say that a lot. But I think very much in these last kind of 4 races of the regatta, that's where that is going to be so critical. So absolutely no penalties, no kind of silly mistakes, giving up spaces because you lose concentration. It's going to be a super tricky day.
But Momo, they're just those 3 points. We're starting to see the top 5. Then that 10-point gap between the 5th and 6th. We're expecting, or you would expect, a winner, world champion, to be among those top 5 boats, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, Sled, Platoon, and No Way Back are obviously, they know what it feels like to be on that top step, and they know what it takes to get there. I think we'll see them kind of still being consistent. I think the question mark is more around Alpha Plus and Paprec, whether they can hold, keep the performance high, sail, keep sailing and keep fighting for that top spot.
Katie, how's this start line shaping up then? We can see pretty much the customary position for No Way Back, that black and yellow, the bumblebee stripes, setting up just to leeward of Vayu. Towards this end of the line, we've got Caballo Loco and Teasing Machine, then Alkedo. And who's at the windward end of the line there, Momo?
Yeah, we've got Crioula and Paprec at the committee boat. Sled and Trinity are a bit further windward of the committee boat, but I think they'll get a nice lane in there.
Great shot of the start line at 2 seconds to go. I think we should be all clear. But Caballo Loco just pulling the bow up to get round the pin end mark. Vudu, we're told, are over the line. They must be up at the, we can see them about 3rd down from the boat end of the line. So, yeah, that's bow number 52. You can see the jib backing. They have to let the fleet go now. But really great shot. Nice start there from bow 36, which is Alkedo. So Vudu then a little bit of an object lesson on what happens if you jump the start. They were just pushing a little bit too hard. I would say probably one of the best starts then is with Alkedo, with the Italian team in the middle. Vayu going quite nicely, and actually No Way Back just struggling a little bit for position and height. Momo. Yeah,
I think you could see that coming for No Way Back. They were just in a bit of a tight position, and the boat to leeward was pretty close to them. In these light conditions, it's really important to have that gap to leeward, and you could see that with Alkedo. Caballo Loco just having to push high to get the pin of the starting line, which meant that Alkedo had a nice space to leeward to accelerate.
Let's pick up an Alpha Plus if we can. They are the regatta leaders on board with them. They've got a reasonable lane there, but they do have Platoon Aviation just to leeward, Katie, don't they? They're going to tack off.
Yeah, they've got a reasonable lane at the moment. I think, yeah, similar speeds as well. It's going to be all about how well they can hold that lane. But I mean, yeah, I wouldn't want to be in any tighter lane for sure. It looks like they might actually just be tacking out of that lane now, hopefully crossing Preveza and getting themselves free.
We're just on board with them right now. We've just seen them tack just to windward off No Way Back. But Teasing Machine there just in front of them going quite well. And I think Sled to leeward or... But interesting, Caballo Loco as our early leader. Oh, sorry, Alegre is to leeward there. Seemed to get off the line nicely this time. Alkedo Vitamina on the left. So it's pretty even on this upwind so far, Momo, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, pretty even. But I think you could see the boats that just had that little edge on speed off the start line coming out in front here. I think we really do have to touch on it for a second, but these starts are absolutely incredible. You'll rarely see a fleet where all of the boats are so close to the line when the gun goes. There's basically no spot left open, and the starting is really incredible. So kind of tough for Vudu. They were probably just a meter ahead of the rest, but that's how fine the margins are.
Indeed. Caballo Loco then just to leeward there of Alkedo. Caballo Loco going quite quickly and got a nice little lane, nice building a little bit of height. Closing the gauge on Alkedo just very slightly. But it's opening, the whole fleet is opening up quite quickly just now, Katie, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of as expected, a much more open racecourse, similar to yesterday. I think Caballo Loco doing a really good job of kind of, yeah, getting off that pin, and same as Crioula did yesterday when they won their race, being the boat kind of most to leeward, it means you can really choose your angles and choose your height and really start to work up to the boats above you, and they're really kind of starting to twist the screws on Alkedo a little bit, really kind of putting them under pressure. The only thing to watch out for is whether Alkedo can actually stay. If they can stay in that lane, then they can potentially push Caballo Loco all the way to that ley line, block them from tacking, and then Alkedo will be in the controlling position coming back. So it's kind of, yeah, whether Caballo Loco can force Alkedo to tack before the ley line, or whether they're going to get pinned out all the way to that left-hand side. And then we know that the Windward mark is absolute carnage because everyone is within meters of each other. So that is as soon as they tack back onto port, they're going to be thinking about, right, where are we coming in at this Windward mark? Who are the boats around us, and how do we get onto that ley line without any costly penalties?
Just on board with the other Brazilian team with Crioula momentarily. It's Caballo Loco leading. Trinity look quite good in their position. It's kind of a customary position for them, Momo, isn't it? Just out on that right side.
Yeah, we've seen them a few
sailing
times
the
there
numbers.
Yeah, but it's you can just see the consistency of Ed Baird and his team there. That, you know, if you have a strategy that works for you and that your driver likes and that your trimmers like, you know, why not stick to it? It will mean more consistent racing, and then you'll have other teams that are the complete flip side to it, that have to change and that have to try more radical things. And it may work sometimes, but then also, you know, may go badly in other races.
But in the meantime, it's great to see Caballo Loco having a good race at the moment. They're close to the bottom of the standings, but they seem to have good pace.
Yeah, I'm really impressed how they've managed to kind of move forward on Alkedo there, because we know Alkedo is a very quick boat and very good team. So to kind of come out of that slightly difficult starting to position and then move forward on Alkedo is very impressive.
Let's look at our regatta leaders at the moment. Alpha Plus in the group there, and going quite well. They've got Teasing Machine just ahead of them, and Alegre to Windward. They can live in there for a little while, don't they? Can't they, Momo?
Yeah, it's a question how long they can live there. I think Teasing Machine is coming up higher. They also have a bit of quite nice position on sled. So important not to be just bounced around in the middle and to kind of try and keep that lane, because having to do 2 more tacks here and to get out of this position will be costly and will mean that you're not in the front row anymore, but you're in the middle of the pack.
And that's the key for them just now, isn't it? Trying to maintain that high level of consistency, top 4s, top 5s. But fairly slender lane where they are at the moment. But as you said, Teasing Machine below them and forward, and Allegra just to windward.
Yeah, and in these conditions, it's really fine adjustments that will mean whether you can either keep that lane or not. You'll feel every little puff coming in, even if it's just half a knot, and with every little puff, you might be able to push the bow up and save yourself, maneuvers down the road.
Katie, how are you liking this left side where Caballo Loco are? And the balance is changing all the time. The right's coming in a little bit stronger according to our tracker.
Yeah, it's kind of constantly changing. I mean, looking at the tracker, it's giving me low to medium levels of anxiety looking at where Vayu, Alkedo and Caballo Loco are, because I'm just foreseeing them having to come in at this windward mark. And I mean, for me as a racer, that is just... Oh man, yeah. I am very risk averse, so I'm like, no, don't put me there. But they're going to have to really find a way to kind of sneak on through that starboard, all those starboard tackers, unless they can make their way in. But to me, they're pretty, I think they might maybe even be above the ley line to that protector mark. So they're going to, I would imagine, end up kind of nose to tail going through that. And I think potentially they're going to have potentially the likes of kind of, the front runners on the right-hand side, so maybe Sled, Teasing Machine, maybe Alpha Plus, all of those guys. I reckon they're all going to come together at the windward mark, and it's going to be, who can kind of, as I said, kind of snake a little way through and tack round with clear wind.
On board then with Paprec just now, Cedric Chateau there on the helm, with Stevan Navy, the main sheet trimmer project manager.
What you can see well in these conditions is that the whole crew is as far forward as you can get them, because the front of the boat is obviously more slender than the aft. In these conditions, you're trying to lift the transom of the boat out of the water and trying to get your crew far forward, even your tactician.
Just reduce the drag a little bit off the aft sections, but I think Paprec are needing a little bit more than that just now. They're as deep as we've seen them for the meantime. In 14th, and quite a tough spot there, Momo, aren't they, really?
Yeah, tough spot. What we saw yesterday, them, not giving up and taking the little opportunities that you can get meant that you can, climb from dead last to 9th, which they did in the last race yesterday. So still all to play for. Maybe not going to win this race, but salvaging every single point will be really important.
Indeed, but Trinity Racing then, Joachim Sundberg and his Swedish flag team in the lead of this race, that getting out to the right early and with a nice open lane, sailing the numbers for their brand new boat. Seems to be working for the meantime. And a little tussle between Sled and Alpha Plus, locked on the same points at the top of the table. Alpha Plus are really only there by virtue of a tie break. But Katie looking quite good for Sled at the moment.
Yeah, I think all Sled's got to, any of those kind of top teams, all they really have to do today is to kind of keep it consistent and keep it within the top sort of 3 to 5, maybe I would say, would be a good day. And I think they're very much doing that. They're not overcomplicating it, not taking too much risk by going out to all the way to like the port ley line especially, but they're kind of not engaging, heading out nice and early to that starboard ley line so that they have the rights coming in. I'd be pretty happy if I was them right now, and then I'd just be letting everyone else around me make mistakes. I think I would be surprised if there was no incidents at this windward mark, so I think just kind of being prepared for that and being ready to kind of deal with whatever happens, trying to stay clear of it, and then just make sure that they kind of keep their position here.
Certainly in that right side working just now for Trinity, teasing machine. But it's still a little bit to go in this upwind, Mo, isn't there?
Yeah, Trinity have it looks like they found their own ley line. On the tracker it looks a bit above the ley line drawn in, so maybe an opportunity to do a safe ley line and not to do a tight call, just anticipating the first mark rounding.
Back on board with the Paprec, trying to keep focused. Cedric Chateau just looking to leeward to see what's happening with the boats in front, seeing what he can learn from that. But in fact, in the end, Alkedo have moved forward quite nicely on Caballo Loco over the course of this upwind.
Yeah, I think Alkedo did what Katie was saying. They kind of pushed Caballo Loco all the way to the ley line and even a bit over it. So in that position, you can push them out, tack, and then all you have to do is push a bit of a high mode, and Caballo Loco know that they can't go any higher, or else you're just saying needless distance. So it might be a case of lining up behind Alkedo for Caballo Loco.
Interesting. Alpha Plus then seem to be going very nicely at the top third of this beat now. But we're on board with Alkedo. Very smooth conditions, isn't it? It's more of the same, a little bit of Groundhog Day as Ian Moore described it. But I think he was talking about the approach, the mental approach, and the sticking to the processes, not doing anything radically different. That's the Groundhog Day he was referring to, but the conditions very, very similar to what we've had each day, isn't it?
Yeah. I think you can also see, the fleet on the right learning out of the previous days. None of the boats have decided to tack underneath Trinity. They all went around behind. Maybe also an indicator for Trinity having a bit of a tight lay call.
Interesting, yeah. No way back in quite a difficult position where they are in 12. Katie, how do you feel about the approach to this windward mark then? Alkedo, Vitamina, Trinity on opposite sides of the course. Alpha
Yeah,
Plus
I
in
think
the mix.
it's...
Yeah, go on, Katie.
Yeah, I mean, they're both going pretty much exactly the same speed. So it's just going to be about, who's just out ahead. I think for all the boats out on the starboard ley line, I think actually, normally I'd kind of be like, oh, you don't really want to overlay on the starboard ley line, you give away meters. But actually, with how these boats have been rounding in the last few days, when so many people are underlay and they kind of end up getting down to kind of 4 knots when they're going around the mark. So actually being overlay and being able to sail over that bunch potentially could be a gain. So I think that's probably, as Momo was saying, that's why potentially Sled, Teasing Machine, all of those guys have gone past Trinity's lay. Equally, they could be on a tight lay, but I think, not wanting to force being too underlay would be, important. But I think Alkedo's looking good and Vayu actually as well looking really good, as long as they can get in front of that big starboard bunch.
And if not,
good luck to them.
Katie, typically unbiased as usual, but really interesting, isn't it? Just the left and the right, the best on the left and the best on the right, really pretty much even. Watching there as Paprec close on Provetza, going behind now.
I think keeping eyes on Vayu here actually is one to watch. I think they might, Alkedo and Caballo Loco might be slightly over this ley line for this protector, and I think Vayu actually might end up in front of Alkedo coming round here. So I think, instead of Alkedo, I think Vayu might now be the one to watch on this coming into this starboard lay.
Just watching, and just as you say, there's Cameron Appleton there on his knees, watching to see how the right, or the boats to the right of him develop, coming in on starboard.
But Vayu, from this camera angle, you can the mode of Vayu looks really, really nice, and Alkedo either not being able to hold the height or being forced to sail a bit lower because of the mark ahead.
But it's going to be close in this mark, isn't it? We can be pretty sure of that. And Trinity just going back on their tack, so I think that's opening the door for Vayu, I would say.
Yeah.
It's going to be close, all down to manoeuvres and split-second timing. And I think balls of steel might be the object requirement. Probably that rather than a head of steel. You've got to be realistic in situations like this and not just push the odds too hard. But anyway, Manu Weiler and the Vayu team, meantime, Alkedo electing to pick a line behind, well, actually coming up to weather of Trinity now. This is all to the good of Vayu, Momo, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there was it looks a little like there was a late left-hand shift, and all the boats, Trinity and Sled and Crioula, that looked like they had a safe ley line coming from the right side, have to double tack. Yeah, all to nice gains for Vayu. Really happy for them.
Indeed. Now then, Alkedo a little bit tight on ley line, perhaps. I think they'll have momentum to get in from there, okay. Watching all the time, though. I think actually coming in there from slightly to windward, I think that...
really tough place for Alkedo because, they either had to try and get in there, or you have to line up behind all those boats.
And in the end, you slow everybody up behind.
Yeah, but for them, it was either, going around second or going around 10th or 9th or something.
Trinity get round quite nicely in the end, although a little bit slowed down. Then Teasing Machine in fourth, Sled I think around ahead of Alpha Plus. These two joined together by a small piece of elastic, I think, which is great for the battle for the overall. Teasing Machine a little bit slowed coming away from the mark. Caballo Loco on the mark, or very close to it. Then Crioula just outside them. Sorry, Provezza just outside, or Crioula indeed it is, and Allegre platoon quite deep. So Vayu then coming out of this really, really smelling of roses with a decent lead, something they can build on in these conditions, Momo, isn't it?
Yeah, I got to sit in on the Vayu debrief again yesterday, and they had a tough second day, and they were feeling like they just weren't fast at all. And yesterday it was going in the right direction for them, but I think it shows you what kind of team they are when you have a tough day and you can regroup and you can especially talk and find your speed issues. But on this upwind, they showed to have some really nice speed, and they managed to work on it and come back fighting.
Interesting, Provezza just getting the kite up. Coming across that spreader leg, just about had it filling. So our owner, Jean-Luc Petithoganen, not on board today. On the Paprec, he's had to go back to Paris for business. So they're fighting though, aren't they, Momo? They're up to 10th and really just trying to impose themselves in that position where they are at the moment, trying.
Yeah, it looks. Conditions are light. It looks a little like all the fleet have kind of compressed and opted to go for an A1 kite, the smallest and flattest kite that you have in your inventory. In these light conditions, you don't actually want the biggest kite you can get because you're often going to struggle to make it fly or to kind of be stable. So in these light conditions, you'd prefer a smaller kite, a bit flatter in its shape. It just means you got a bit more stable flow, and it means you have to sail at slightly higher angles. But in these light conditions, it works a bit better.
So fascinating. Then this could be a pivotal race. potentially 35 points just now for Sled, 36 for Alpha Plus, and then 6-point gap opening between Alpha Plus and Platoon Aviation. Both Platoon and Paprec and No Way Back having difficult, tough races for them. It's going to be about damage limitation, trying to pull back every possible point. And as we were saying, really pretty much coming into this race, a little bit of a curse to the commentator when you're saying, well, that 10-point gap between, I think, between 5th and 6th is now all but gone. And really, it's closed up between Paprec or Platoon 42, Paprec 44, 46, No Way Back. Alkedo Vitamina absolutely not out of it in 47. Trinity Racing in the mix as well. And Vayu leading this race, stepping up the leaderboard a little bit more. On board with Platoon Aviation then, they are quite deep, but it's a long way to go still in this race. We're only on the first downwind. And the battle is between Sled and Alpha Plus. It's going to be a match race, which will continue through this race, Momo, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Vayu have managed to build a bit of a gap to the front, but it does look like they're sailing just a bit higher than the fleet behind. So definitely something to watch out for, and Manu will have his head on a swivel and kind of looking for that perfect moment to jibe back in.
Talk to me a little bit about their positioning on the boat, their trim.
Well, in these conditions, they're trying to again lift the transom out of the water, reduce drag, get the weight forward, and just keep the movements on the boat to a minimum. Smooth sailing is fast sailing. Yeah.
Katie, Vayu going well. Alkedo in second, Trinity in third. And this tussle, this little scrap between Sled and Alpha Plus, locked on the same point. Going into the race, it's fabulous racing, fabulous sport, Katie, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And like watching, I mean, I'm always kind of in awe when you look up, just look up Wind View and you see 15 kites kind of all running behind each other. It's so cool. But yeah, speaking with, as you were saying earlier, about Vayu looking to be a bit higher, they've been consistently around half a knot faster than Alkedo, so definitely two very different modes. Vayu higher but faster, Alkedo lower, slower, but I think Alkedo being closer to the pack behind them kind of have to protect, have to go a bit lower because they have to protect their ability to jibe. And as Momo was saying, kind of heads are on a swivel. You'd literally want to have the neck range of an owl up today because you'd want to be constantly like able to look everywhere around you because you'd want to be looking for pressure, you'd want to be looking for any potential shifts, you want to be checking for boats around you that are behind you that are potentially about to jibe, because you wouldn't want to be making any mistakes because getting into dirty air when it's this light is so costly.
Talk to me about the speed loop downwind then just now with these teams. How's that working? Who's dictating the course, as it were?
Well, it's usually the kite trimmer. He pretty much drives the boat on the downwind. He's the first one to feel whether he's got a bit of pressure building in the kite, or whether they're in a bit of a lull. So he's also the first one, to react and to push the driver either up to look for a bit of pressure or down when he's got the pressure. I think in these conditions, in these crossover conditions between two different sails, you are also, the moding between the boats will be different because some might have a bit of a flatter kite, which needs you to sail higher. And some boats might have a bit of a deeper kite, which means you can sail a bit lower but slower. We always learn in the offshore, it's, sail to the sail that you have up right now. Don't try and, make a sail that isn't made for something work for something else.
Yeah.
So, I think little, design differences in the sails also playing an effect here.
Indeed. And of our main contenders then, I said Sled and Alpha Plus locked together. Top two boats, and then it's close between Platoon and Paprec. And then No Way Back having a bit of a tough race, Momo, aren't they?
Let's hope there's a way back for them.
Absolutely. That's the last time we're using that line for this regatta. Maybe when we get to Lanzarote, then we can start to indulge yourselves. But it's recovery moments, trying to get back a few places for Terry Hutchison and the team on No Way Back. They struggled a little bit off the start line, didn't they, Momo?
Yeah, tough position. Boat close to leeward, and they just couldn't sail to their own speed numbers. But yeah, in these light wind conditions, whether you have a good start or bad start is pretty much decided, half a minute before the start. Is if you can start your speed build half a minute before and you have the room to build, then that might be you winning the start, or you losing the start. But yeah, you can see Vayu here, the crew moving all together. The main trimmer, Pom Green, he's constantly looking up into the sail. He's someone that definitely likes sailing with the traveller up on the downwind. Mm-hmm. You can see his left hand there is right at the kicker, so he does the leech control of the sail with his kicker, whereas you'll have Cheese on platoon, who likes to center the traveller more, and he does more of the leech control of the mainsail through his main sheet.
And Cheese is quite a good main sheet trimmer.
Yeah, I mean both are very good main trimmers. All of them are very good main sheet trimmers. I do find
one's won the America's Cup twice, and won the Ocean Race, among other things.
It's nerdy, but it's interesting to see that there are different ways to skin the cat and to kind of sail fast, and each trimmer likes their style and sticks to their style, and it's also the question whether you can combine different trimmers with their own styles on a boat, and whether those styles match each other or don't work very well with each other.
But meantime, all going very well just now for Vayu. He managed to eke out a few more meters on this downwind. And it's one of the advantages of leading on a day like this, isn't it, Momo?
Yeah, the rich get richer. They can, make their own decisions, and yeah, they will be looking back. But it speaks for a confident tactician to make his own calls and to not always be reacting, but being the first one to, do the jibe there, or be the first one to make a move on a shift.
What else did you learn from their briefing and debrief?
I think just the way they communicated. They, as I said, they struggled on the day before, but they then went quite deep into the trim. Looking at the differences. What was very interesting to see, they went into quite a deep tack analysis, and then they felt they were struggling in the tack, so they had a look at each of the individual tacks that they did in the races and compared the different tracks of them.
Mm-hmm. So they're in the group of 5 who are with the Quantum, so they have all the data.
Yeah,
and James Line and Co.
I was actually going to mention that it's that this kind of this partnership between all the quantum boats is really helpful for them. You might think, giving your data to other boats might be detrimental, but it's actually the opposite. The data only makes sense if you can compare it to other sets of data, or your good sets of data. So I think these quantum boats definitely do have a slight advantage, that they after every single day get all the numbers from all the other boats and can see what they did and can see what might have worked better on that day or might have worked not so good.
Certainly, but here they come into the leeward gate. Have not won a race at this regatta. They did share the lead overall once again. No big changes down this leg then, Katie, really, have there been?
No, not at all. I think with, the bearing to the next windward mark is the same, so I think there's been no kind of big persistent shifts. It does feel pretty light down here. I think they've shortened the course, but yeah, it's super light, and it's kind of on the downwinds. I think it's a bit harder than the upwinds, because I do think manoeuvres are quite costly. It's quite slow. You kind of just want to be in clear wind, and it's a bit harder to pass downwind when it's this light. And I think the opportunities will be on this next upwind, on this open race course. I think Vayu's done a really nice job of picking that leeward mark, right-hand mark looking downwind, because I think sailing through the fleet, sailing through the dirty air will be super costly. I think that's going to paid off well for them. But yeah, I think the next kind of the big changes if any position changes happen, I would fully expect it to be on this next upwind.
Potentially with the breeze coming in from the right, that seems to be the programme or the forecast in general. The question is when it happens. But that seems to be what the Alkedo team may be anticipating. Cameron Appleton working with Alvaro Marinho, strategist, 4 times Olympian, and indeed Niccolo Sanfelice, the young Italian navigator. They're going really well out from that lured gate rounding, aren't they?
Yeah, you can see all these boats. I'm just looking at the maneuvers right now, and I'm really impressed. The quality of the maneuvers are amazing. The good thing about doing a string drop, having all the grinders pull in the kite with the string line, is that you have this moment where you disengage the halyard and disengage the sheet of the kite. And in that moment, the grinders start pulling it in, and the kite actually gets lifted into the air and then sucked in kind of straight out of the air. You have none of it touching the water. You have it coming from quite high up into the hatch. It takes some practice, but with enough power on the handles, you can get it down in 2 seconds.
Paprec and Platoon Aviation then still overlap, same as Alpha Plus and Sledware. There are these 2 little private battles going on. Paprec just have the upper hand coming around that mark, with Markroom just going around that left hand mark together.
But it speaks to Paprek's boat handling. They still had the kite up when the bow of the boat reached the mark, and they dropped it in half a boat length. It's those few seconds of maybe having the kite up and having more speed than Platoon that gets you in a stronger position in the mark rounding.
Gladiator deep once again. Momo, unfortunately, not able to impose themselves as we've seen in the past. But there's a lot of good boats back there in the lower third of the fleet. Provezza on their way back. Gladiator, Allegra.
Yeah, but Alpha Plus and Sled managing to stay out of that big hustle in the mid fleet, and I think that'll be really exciting to watch those two fight against each other. Yeah.
So different options on this second beat. Vayu in the foreground, Alkedo on the background. It's pretty even though. It's going to be a great beat to watch, Momo, isn't it?
Yeah. Vayu being able to stretch their legs, Alkedo going off to the right side, but Vayu joining Alkedo pretty soon there. I think it's not a moment to go on a bold attack for Vayu. You're in first position, so you might be in a good position to cover what the boat directly behind you is doing, and not letting them run off and do their own thing.
Meantime, Katie, Sled versus Alpha Plus. Sled's, can I guess, in some kind of covering mode largely at the moment, you would say?
Yeah, you'd think so. I was just actually thinking about that. I was wondering if we're going to see, similar to yesterday, with kind of Alpha Plus trying to engage Sled in a bit of a fight and seeing whether they can get past them. Alpha Plus obviously doing a really nice job of that yesterday with their confident sailing. I wonder if they were obviously top 2 yesterday, first and second in the race. I wonder if they would be employing kind of the same strategies today, and I wonder if Alpha Plus, for example, would want to be as aggressive with their tactics on Sled while they're in that mid fleet, because the risk of losing more places is obviously higher.
Exactly.
So I guess the question is whether they're asking whether they're thinking bigger picture, whether they're thinking kind of regatta, whether they're thinking, or whether they're just thinking about wanting to consolidate this race.
I would guess that they're just wanting to consolidate the race. I mean, both of them will not be wanting to add any risk to their positions that they're in just now. Obviously, Sled will move 1 point clear at the top of the standings, as indeed you're just seeing, as if by magic, Sled would be on 55. 36 for Alpha Plus, and then Platoon Aviation on 42, Paprec 45, and No Way Back moving up and down a little bit. But look at that, Alkedo, Trinity Racing, No Way Back would all be on 47 points. A little bit of a gap back to Vayu, but a very, very dynamic leaderboard after first and second, Momo, isn't it?
Yeah, and the little margins coming into this day are showing. All of a sudden, you have one race and it all kind of shifts about. But and really strong of Alkedo to work their way up the leaderboard. I think they were over the line yesterday in the last race.
Yeah.
They finished pretty far down. I think almost 14th or 13th. So it shows you how much there is to play for, and having one really good race, one strong race where you're at the front can kind of turn your fortunes.
Indeed, that's the case. But I think for so many teams, it's just about, well, all the teams is about taking it race by race, leg by leg, and just making sure you're maximising your performance, maximising your focus and concentration. And to that end, Trinity Racing really doing a nice job in this race. And I think this will get them another couple of places or a place up the leaderboard, and then focus on the next race.
I think you see this group on the right is kind of always reacting to each other. You saw Alkedo tacking back in to try and cover Trinity, and now you've seen Vayu tacking back in to try and cover Alkedo and Trinity. So they're all reacting to each other. They're all playing the shifts, but I think the main aim is there to cover the boat behind you and kind of not letting them get a jump on you.
Indeed. Crioula got out furthest out to the right, back on board with the Paprec in 11th. The next target would be Gladiator. But great racing, it's fascinating, and what's going to be interesting to see how the teams have not had such a good race. So I'm talking about Platoon, Paprec and No Way Back. How do they bounce back? How do they respond in this next race? Because almost by definition, they have to push the risk a little bit more as we get towards the end of the regatta. Is that a fair comment, or are we looking big picture and just grinding out results in terms of the championship?
Well, it is a fair comment, but I do think if you risk it all in the next start, that might work well for you, but it also might be the final nail in your coffin. And being. But
that's the balance of the World Championship versus, say, minimising the risk and just looking long term to your position at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Anyway, on board with Platoon Aviation, just tacking now. Juan Vila there, the navigator, going across the boat, just responding to Allegra, I think, in front. So Platoon Aviation in 9th for the moment, and Allegra just in front, so they've tacked away from Allegra's dirt. Katie, how's the second half of this beat looking? Breeze looks fairly even across the course. No big gains on either side. As Momo was just saying, it's about covering your opposition such as you can, covering the boat behind, consolidating and not giving anything away at this stage.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think there's been any big changes. You're looking at the tracking. There's people the tracks are kind of all over the place. People tacking, doing the dance is what was the kind of catchphrase of the last Super Series when I was watching it.
That's right.
And they're very much doing that in the top.
Timmy Kruger, made the dance begin.
Exactly, and that's very much happening at the top of this upwind. Most of the boats actually coming in from more towards the left-hand side, so I think we'll see kind of a lot of boats being tacked on as they're trying to come back on port, so then having to bounce off, and it's just going to be, I think lots of manoeuvres up here, but Vayu doing a super nice job of staying clear. managing to kind of not have to engage, just kind of a loose cover, as Momo was saying, on Alkedo and Trinity, and that's all they need to do really. They just need to kind of loose cover, stay ahead, hopefully be able to gain some distance, and then hopefully just bring it home down this run.
Here's hoping for the team from Thailand. No big revelation, but as far as I understand, we've voted, or the owners have voted to go to Thailand next year. We'll do 2 regattas, including the World Championship, next year in Thailand, hosted, of course, by the Whitcraft family and all good practice. Maybe this time next year, or at the World Championship next year, they can be considering a home win. But this is all good experience for them, Momo, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, you have to say that, like, they have had a few big changes. Dylan Whitcraft stepping up and doing the head sail trim is quite a big move. Kind of internally shifting around a few positions, but they've kind of managed to keep the learnings up.
Bringing in Shane Elliott.
Yeah, as navigator, Pom Green still managing the project, and a lot of the old faces still there. So the combination of having a few new people in the team, switching a few positions, but also having the experience and the guys that have been there for a while makes for a good combination.
Indeed. Anyway, here they go round to the last windward mark, second windward mark. Comfortably ahead now, and can consider getting through the finish line with their first win of this regatta. In fact, they're going to be well clear now as Vayu approach, but good to see as Alkedo approach. Good to see them bouncing back. It was interesting. We spoke with Andrea Lacorte this morning, doing a nice interview with him, and he was just saying, he comes ashore, and certainly came ashore yesterday with his head absolutely bursting. He said, so important for him he goes out onto his motor yacht and just relaxes, get into a more zen state, and diffuses the pressure. And then they've had their debrief after yesterday, and it seems to have worked for them. Good speed, and really have sailed a very accomplished race. Not pushing the risk too hard. They got themselves a good start, Momo, didn't they?
Yeah, they got themselves out of the line really well. Just going fast. I'd probably guess they were the fastest boat off the line. And you have seen them do that a few times. So I feel like we've seen Alkedo being the boat with the nose forward a few of the starts, but it hurting them yesterday because they were the boat with the nose forward on an early start.
Well, interesting here. We're seeing Sled with a boat now between them and Alpha Plus, and that boat is Crioula, isn't it?
Yeah, we didn't see much of them on the upwind, but on the tracker you could see that they were fighting each other, and Sled actually tacking on Alpha Plus I think 2 times. So they are fighting each other. Sled know who they're up against and have come swinging.
Indeed, that boat then is Crioula, and that will extend Sled's already slender lead on the World Championship, ahead of the team from Hong Kong. We'll have a look at the regatta standings, or projected regatta standings on this downwind once all the boats have been round. Trinity Racing pushing hard, trying to get down into the breeze of Trinity Racing trying to get down to the breeze of Alkedo. But a fairly straightforward run looking like, isn't it, Momo?
Yeah, it's looking like a straightforward run. I think from this angle you could see the different modes on the boat really well. Like we saw on the last downwind, but Vayu is always a little higher, always a little faster. Alkedo is always a little lower, and yeah, it's kind of 2 modes, 2 different sail setups, 2 sets of trimmers. But yeah, I just think it's interesting to see that you're basically seeing exactly the same thing in both downwinds now.
So Patrick, 2 French boats, 7th and 8th. Now Patrick up to 8th, which is another step up, getting through Allegra. Platoon Aviation in 10th, Gladiator in 11th. We're loving this onboard camera work on the Paprec. And I think a few of our live racing fans are enjoying it too. It'd be good if we could get it on Sled or Alpha Plus, though, wouldn't it? But hopefully, you know, it might be the future. It's these wearable tech is so much lighter and higher quality now. But there we go, great overhead shot. Paprec, Jean-Luc telling us that they've got a lot of new sails this year. Made a big difference to their speed. And a complete refit through the winter for the boat. But Katie, maybe this being the point that Sled ease ahead towards the world title. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that is such a critical point, getting a boat in between them and Alpha Plus. That's so important for the overall standings because it just gives them a little bit more breathing space, and Alpha Plus having to do a little bit more to get back in front of them. They have got 3 more races, so I mean, in a 15 boat fleet, that's what, 45 points worth of play still to happen. Wow. So it's very much still race by race, but when it comes down to it, that 1 extra point, I would imagine, is actually going to be super critical.
Yeah, once again, Sled not really having any bad races, and more consistently good races. That's been their hallmark in Puerto Portals, and indeed here at the back end of last season. So remember, Sled are going for 3 wins in a row. Finished the 2025 season in 2nd place. And they are leading the circuit standings at the moment. There we go, yeah, indeed, 2 points clear at the top of the table after race 7, assuming positions stay the same, and there's no reason to suggest there'll be any big changes. And then that 5-point gap between Alpha Plus and Paprec puts the pressure on Paprec and Platoon Aviation, and indeed Alkedo. If they're going to win a world title, they really need to put together a scoreline of top 2s, top 3s till the end of the regatta. But Andrea Lacorte, I say, we were speaking with him this morning. He's so utterly, completely passionate about his sport. He's absolutely loving the 52 Super Series. He said it is the high temple of sailing. Certainly the high temple of non-foiling sailing. But and Ian Moore just saying that the fleet was so even in terms of performance and speed.
I think over the years the boats have ever been developing, but now they've come to such an edge in the box rule that it means that the boats are so similar, and it makes for just such exciting racing. I think there are definitely different classes where you can still get a huge advantage by trying something different and by kind of outspending the other teams. But in this class, we're seeing older boats like Vayu being able to lead and win races, almost I think 10 years older than some of the other boats. So it's nice to see.
But Katie, this is always going to be a relatively equal playing field in light breezes. The fleet speed is very, very similar. It's all about how you pick the lanes, get off the start line. Whereas I think the next 2 regattas in Lanzarote should be very different, Katie, shouldn't they? Yeah,
for sure. I think, the light winds is definitely evens things out a lot. There's such fine margins in the boat speeds, and it is about who can kind of maximise every little thing to kind of get the last bit of boat speed out. Kind of as Momo was saying earlier, I think another cool thing about this fleet is that you have like a mixture of owner drivers, of kind of lots of family members in teams, and you have professional drivers, and it's kind of, if you were just looking at it and didn't know names and faces in sailing, you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference at all. And I think that's a really epic thing in this fleet. But yeah, Lanzarote, I'm expecting completely different conditions, hopefully a bit of breeze, because these boats are so sick to watch in the breeze as well. And hopefully we can get one of those onboard cameras with Paprec in Lanzarote as well, because big breeze on board would be epic.
It would, and they are one of our stronger teams in the big breeze, as we showed in Cascais last year. But massive credit in the meantime to the Vayu team. I think pretty much, what was it, 2 years ago then, this week they were winning in Newport, Rhode Island. Remember, they won on Father's Day, and that was a big gift to the fathers on board. Very, very much unexpected, but not quite sure they're going to be able to pull a rabbit out of the hat here at this stage, but they're really in a great position at the moment. And it'll give the crew a real morale boost. Led after day one here and led after day one in Puerto Portales.
Yeah, Don was mentioning the Rhode Island event yesterday, and he said the best thing about it was that they were actually living right above the pub there. So
that's right. I would hesitate to comment. I don't know whether they were living above.
Story ends there.
I think they were living above, and theoretically they had a lot of their belongings in the apartment above the flat, but I think there was some periods in the pub. But yeah, clearly tells you they like to have a good time as a family for sure, and as a team, sail hard and enjoy themselves, enjoy their lives together.
Beautiful drive there, getting, again, light conditions inside driving the kite, and it's really about the speed and timing when you get the kite around. But it's just one fluid movement, kite coming around, filling on the other side, and then all the crew coming up to squash the weight.
Anyway, I imagine there'll be a few high fives there coming through the line. Why not? They should celebrate their wins when they come. So there we go, a win for Vayu, and well deserved. And in the end, Katie, quite a big win in terms of the distance.
Yeah, they did a really nice job actually managing to extend and kind of the loose covering the fleet. You kind of expect that in this breeze, but it's not always as easy as it sounds. And yeah, really impressive from Vayu team.
It also looks like the higher and faster mode worked very well for them on the downwind.
So Alkedo getting things back on track after a little bit of a bumpy day yesterday, not quite what they wanted. And Andrea Lacorte absolutely loving racing here in Porto Cervo. Italian boat in one of the real sailing hotspots off Italy. And then the cool, calm and collected Swedes led by, you'd almost call him an honorary Swede because he's so cool, calm and collected. Ed Baird there patting Joachim Sundberg on the back, saying good job everyone. Trinity have had some rocky, bumpy races in this series so far, but they're pretty consistent all in all for a new team. And then there we go, actually said coming through now. Real class act, Adam, and in fact look what's happening here then, Momo.
Yeah.
Alpha Plus have got back through, well, yeah, they've got back through Crioula. It's going to be close, but I think Alpha Plus will still get there.
Yeah, definitely looks like Alpha Plus have done it, and important single point there.
Yeah.
Very important.
Crioula putting the handbrake on, coming round that outer distant mark. But a really important point gained or not lost down that run, Katie, wasn't it, for Alpha Plus?
Oh man, that was so critical. I was literally had my heart in my mouth watching them. At one point, I didn't know if Crioula was just going to sail straight into them. Carnage. But yeah, no, that was so critical, and I think they're going to be. Yeah, if I was on board, I'd be like very relieved that they managed to get that point back, because every point counts.
Let me just remind you, you're supposed to be unbiased and cool, calm, and collected. You're not supposed to get too excited.
Yeah,
but I love it, Katie. You sail every boat with everybody and feel the pain and feel the elation. It's fantastic. Paprec then coming through. A little bit of damage limitation coming away with 8th. They were down in 11th or 12th early on, weren't they, Momo?
Yeah, they were. It does show you can fight back in this fleet, but I think for Paprec it is important to not have too many of those results anymore. And to be able to win this regatta at this point, you need to have top 5 results, as Katie said earlier.
Super close coming in now. Then Platoon Aviation coming through the line on port. We have Gladiator. It's going to be super close. Just losing pace, and in the end, Provezza, I think, coming through, just probably pipping on the line. Do you think?
Yeah, I think Provezza just got that. Yeah, we see No Way Back coming in now. Not an easy race for them, and they're going to have to regroup and see.
I mean, it's difficult for No Way Back because they've got. I mean, the team on board have such high expectations, so used to winning in the colours of American Magic and Quantum Racing, and it's going to be a very different experience for them just now. And I think in the long term, medium to long term, they'll be back, but up in the top 4, top 5, and I think overall for the season, I'm quite sure. But at the moment, it's these are tough moments for them now, and indeed yesterday when they got that penalty. So No Way Back at 13th, 14th will be Caballo Loco. And then Vudu, who were, of course, over the line, only boat to be over the line. Coming through in 15th. So an interesting race, still quite light conditions, very, very exacting conditions requiring maximum concentration. Every metre, every half a metre is vital. Starts are so important, though, Momo.
Yeah, I mean the starts is the kind of what makes you win and what makes you lose the race. If you have a bad start, yeah, you can fight your way back into the the midfield, but we've seen no boat having an absolutely shocker of a start and fighting your way back to the top 5 places. So start is the difference between doing really well in a race and not doing well at all.
So what's the element of element or the key elements of getting a good start in this fleet at this point in the regatta, as you see it? It's really so variable, isn't it?
It's a buzzword bingo right now, but I'll say it again: speed is king. I think that makes you win the start, having a clear lane.
So that's a clear lane and speed, and not putting yourself up against an equally matched boat, shall we say?
Yes, I think you can often see that boats starting on different ends of the line kind of get to the top mark first and second, but it is the boats that have the space to sail to the numbers that are then leading at the top mark.
Indeed. So let's have a look at the leaderboard. It's incredibly even at the top of the table, but it is Sled who are leading about a single point ahead of Alpha Plus. Paprec dropping by virtue of that 8th place, dropping to 7 points behind Alpha Plus. Paprec in 3rd, Platoon Aviation 1 point behind Paprec, and then Alkedo Vitamina in 5th and 47. But 47 for Alkedo, 47 for Trinity Racing, No Way Back on 47. Then Vayu moving up to 8th and 51, 59 for Provezza, 60 and 60 for Crioula and Allegra. 64 for Teasing Machine, Gladiator on 74, Caballo Loco on 78 and 97 points just now for Vudu in 15th. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. We'll go into race 8, the second race of the day, just in a few minutes' time, and we will see you then.
I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they
Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
A friend of a friend told me you're moving on. Wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm really not. You were never one for new ones. Couldn't recognize a good thing till it was gone. Did you always see me as replaceable? Or think your damage to me was collateral? Well, if I'm being honest and rational, watching you walk out felt natural. Thought we were written in the stars. I had last dreams and tarot cards. I try to find a remedy for broken hearts, but I know now losing you is my fresh start. To think I've got a degree in making myself smaller for you, and I mastered the art of waiting on your every move. Thank God you're gone. Get out. So long. To think I ever believed I had to make myself smaller for you. You always thought you were the center of the universe, but baby, why do you never learn? You're not the last and you're not the first. Don't open your mouth, you make things worse. To think I've got a degree in making myself smaller for you, and I mastered the art of waiting on your every move. Thank God you're gone. Get out. So long. To think I ever believed I had to make myself smaller for you. Even on a good day, you're Should have spelled it out. Let me put it in a song. Every time you make that face, like crawling to a damaged space, out of sync and out of tune, that frequency I can't undo. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Why you look surprised when we've done this all before? I'm not sure the highs really make up for the lows. When words don't work and I get hurt, somehow I feel like I'm the worst. Manipulation overload, but babe, this time I'll steal the show. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Stop drumming on my heart. Stop drumming on my heart. Out of sync and out of touch, and maybe even out of love. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. Got me black and blue, making me wanna walk. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart, please stop. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check your tone, or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Come on, let's go. Time to get to stepping out the door. Spread those wings, cause we wanna see more, do more, be more. Looking real cute, but we feeling hardcore. The journey awaits us while we stay up. So much to gain, all this time I just saved up. Now I pull my weight, on the go. A worldwide treasure everywhere that I go. If you up for the trip, then I'm with it too. Take around the world, what we finna do. Let's enjoy the ride like a long vacation. It's the journey, not the destination. Hey, get up, we bouncing right now. Good times, our love is about to go down. Lights on, drive fast and the high. Beep, beep, and evergreen light. Come on, baby, hop inside. It's gonna be a long ride. Yeah, places to go, we got things to do. We got plenty to see, so we breezing through. They see how we move, we wanna try it out. It's a better time, baby, yeah, we having a ball. Feeling good, feeling great, feeling brand new. Trying to live it up, go nuts, go cashews. No bad news, only positivity. Be young, be wild.
I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop me? I'm breakable. I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop me? I'm breakable.
So there we go, race 8 in prospect with two teams stepping clear a little bit at the top of the table. Sled leading now by a single point, 35 points to Sled, Alpha Plus on 36. Then this little gap opening between Alpha Plus and Paprec. Paprec on 42, Platoon Aviation on 43, and then 4 points back to that little logjam, the three boats on 47, Alkedo, Vitamina, Trinity Racing, and No Way Back all on 47. But that little gap opening now, whether that will remain through until the end of today is going to be fascinating. But both Sled and Alpha Plus really top of the table in terms of consistency in the last few days, Momo, haven't they been?
I think it's more to be expected from Sled. What will be interesting is to see how Alpha Plus manages to kind of go forward from every race from this point. I think the pressure is a bit on them to see if they can stay that high on the leaderboard.
Katie, how does this race shaping up? We've got 3 minutes to go. No big changes in the breeze. It's still fairly even. Do you think any increase in pressure? Perhaps, possibly, hopefully.
Yeah, no changes in direction. It's still windward mark bearing is still 100, so that's exactly the same as the last race. Yeah, it looks potentially a little bit more filled in, maybe like 1 or 2 more knots of breeze, which I think would be quite nice, especially downwind. We might see a little bit more action, a little bit more opportunities on the downwinds if the wind gets up a little bit. But yeah, for me, it's shaping up to be similar to the last race. Going to be super critical to get off that start line, and then left was pretty strong in the last race. So I would imagine I'd see no reason why it wouldn't be in this race too.
And one of some of these teams which have just slipped a little bit there, the likes of Platoon, Paprec, No Way Back, they really need to impose themselves on this race, Momo, don't they?
Yeah, a strong result is important. I think they know that, at this point you might just try a slightly bolder strategy. Again, not too much risk, because a really bad position completely throws you out of contention. But yeah, at this point in the regatta, you can try a little bit more and up the risk slightly.
Did on board with Paprec then, Loic Piron just evaluating how the line looks, evaluating the breeze, evaluating how his main rivals are shaping up. You've got Alkedo just above them. Just reiterating the skill set of Cedric Chateau there, the helmsman on board Paprec, a match racer
match racing coach, a coach to an offshore team coach. Very, very confident in close boat-on-boat manoeuvring is Cedric, and indeed the whole team. But once again, Caballo Loco at the pin end of the line, along with who's that in the leeward position, along with them, Sled, I think, shaping up for
Provetza and Sled towards the pin end. I think I like the position. They've got so much runway. They've got, it seems like time on distance, they've done quite well.
So too, I think I like the position of Platoon Aviation. Just need to keep the bow up just momentarily and give themselves maintaining that runway to speed build into. Alkedo, Vitamina are a boat length behind the line at 12 seconds to go.
Yeah, Alkedo having a very difficult start, but you could see, that the start was decided for them 1 minute and 20 before the gun went.
Good start there from Platoon Aviation. Paprec also in quite a nice position with pace and opportunities to speed build. Really tight lane for Sled, just caught between Provetza to leeward and Platoon Aviation. Platoon Aviation will got a little bit more pace there, Momo, haven't they? They've got a chance to just lift away.
Quite a sandwich for Sled, and you can see, well, Provetza's pushing up and Platoon is going in a fast mode and the door is closing for them. They just couldn't hold it, and I think they'll be making themselves room to tack, and they'll be getting out of there as quickly as they can.
Alpha Plus just to leeward off No Way Back and bow forward. So reasonable start from them. I'm still liking where Paprec are just now. Starting pretty much midline. Sled going behind everyone. That pin end start not paying off for them, unfortunately, Momo. That's costing them. This could open the door for Alpha Plus. So Alpha Plus really didn't get their best start.
Well, it looked like they were setting up well, but that's where the time and distance really plays a role. It was, a Platoon was just a little bit more bow forward, and Sled was like half a boat length behind.
There you go, Alpha Plus less. Just tacking off their, sorry, I beg your pardon, teasing machine just tacking off. And this working out quite well for Provetza in the meantime. How do we feel? What do we feel about Platoon Aviation's position there?
Provetza was pushing quite high, and while Sled was still there, they you got the bit of an advantage from the boat to windward of you, and they could just push even higher. So they've managed to kind of close the gauge to Platoon, and now Platoon will probably be struggling to hold that lane.
Well, they're just watching on board with them just now. Katie, your thoughts on that start? Provetza coming away quite nicely with the early lead in this race. Number 8, Paprec got off the line nicely. And really have options, don't they, the French team?
Yeah, I'm quite liking the look of the boats down towards the pin. I think just looking at that angles off the line, it looked like there was potentially a bit of pin bias or a little bit of maybe a tiny bit of a left shift, because those boats at the pin end were looking really strong off the line. I think Sled, unfortunately, I think potentially they just didn't have the speed. As Momo was saying, they were set up really nicely before the start, but if you trigger slightly late or if you're not quite up to speed, then you're just going to get kind of soap dished out, which is unfortunately what happens, and then that's super costly, because if that happens when you're at the pin end, then you've got to tack and duck all of the boats above you, which is a long time sailing in kind of dirty air. But we know that they're a really quick boat. We know that they've got really good speed upwind, so they've now managed to find themselves a clear lane and heading out to the right, so they'll be hoping that this right hand side is paying off. It's looking like the left hand side boats aren't quite going as far as they did in the last race. We saw the leader of the last race, Vayu, they went all the way out to that left hand side, really managed that port ley line well with I think it was Alkedo and I can't remember who the other one was, but that group of it was Crioula, sorry. That group of 3, Vayu really managing that ley line well, and they came in super strong. This race, the boat's kind of not wanting to go all the way out to that ley line, so I'm wondering if they're seeing something more towards the right-hand side. in this race, or they're just not wanting to play it as risky. But yeah, at the moment, I think those left-hand boats looking strong.
In general, I think the forecast is the right strengthens in the afternoon, but maybe that's what we're expecting with Crioula then going well just now. Alkedo out there as well. Trinity very much in good shape. Watching all the time for Sled there, bow number 5, and pretty much in the middle, as deep as we've seen them for a while, Momo, aren't they?
Yeah, a bit deep, but also Alpha Plus, you know, not too far away from them. Both of them a little bit further back than they'd want to be, but interesting to see how both of them will be able to cope with it and whether they'll be able to fight their way out before the top mark. Really important.
You're just watching there, they're on either side, I think, of No Way Back. Vudu fighting a rear guard action, really. Allegra not good. But Trinity Racing, all in all, having a pretty solid day, the way things are shaping up at the moment.
Yeah, and you see them, you know, in their comfortable position, going over to the right, having the clear lane, letting the driver do what he wants to do, and, you know, sailing to his numbers.
So, Kate, how's it looking on this left side with Platoon Aviation and Provezza?
I mean, it's kind of changing all the time. They're looking a bit better now. I mean, a minute ago they weren't as much. I think they've kind of, again, sensible to not go all the way out to that left, especially as the right-hand side is meant to get stronger and stronger as the day goes on. But the numbers are still, I mean, if the numbers are around 100, that is still quite a left-hand breeze, and it means it is still a much more open race course. I think for me, I'm liking the look of Provezza. I think they're in a really strong position, and I think it'll maybe just be kind of what that last shift brings. But they're not quite on the port ley line, so they have got room to do a little tack if they need to. They've got room to sail a high mode, so they've got plenty of options from where they are.
So interesting, once again, it's between Crioula and Provezza, both furthest to the right and the boats furthest to the left.
But yeah, as Katie said, you know, Provezza didn't go out all the way to the left.
Yeah.
In the last race, it did pay out nicely for Vayu and Alkedo, but it is a make or break strategy. If you find your way in ahead of the fleet, you get your first or second. If you don't, you're all the way to the back and lining up behind all the other boats coming around the top mark.
But very, very even lineup there, all the way across. Pretty much everybody in a line. Alkedo second from the right. Say shaping up for a solid day for them.
I mean, this is an absolute speed game. You'll be trying to get every single little bit of speed out of your boat that you can. You know, crew hiking fully. Tiny adjustments in the Traveller, in the mainsail trim. You'll be wanting to do the you know, the mainsail trim has to be helping the driver. You want as little rudder input as possible. You want to be holding that 3 to 4 degrees of see the tiller. It's never to leeward. It's always to windward, that few degrees, which are absolutely essential for minimizing your leeway.
So Alkedo tacking. Just watching how they swing the boat down, as you say, squash it down, build the pace out of the attack.
Yeah, I could see that yesterday in the debrief with Vayu, but they were talking about how much rudder input you give. And you basically you want the Traveller to do a lot of the work. The Traveller's there for kind of the rudder balance. So you want the Traveller really helping the helmsman through the tack, so that he has to give as little steerage as possible to minimize the drag. You're also looking, you know, the time between, you know, going from full speed through the tack and back to full speed, trying to minimize the time between full speed on both ends of the tack.
To minimize the slowdown, as it were.
Exactly, but also not having too quick of a turn. You you still have the momentum of the boat playing a role, so you don't want to push it too much because that would be too much rudder movement, and it's finding that sweet spot. But that's only possible to find by comparing many tacks to each other and looking at which one is actually the best one and how each tack of the day compares to the best one that you have.
I mean, James Line, we were talking to him yesterday for our docu-series that we're doing, and he was saying that they take 45 million data points per boat from each day's racing. Over 100 sensors on each of the quantum boats.
I think the skill and the benefit of having a coach there is that you actually have a person that is dedicated to the data and looking through that. Creating so much data is great, but it doesn't help you at all if you don't have the time.
Or somebody to analyse it and give you the key points.
Or to know what to look for.
Anyway, the quantum programs are really... the data is been such a big part of their program collection and analysis and giving the next steps. Anyway, fascinating top 4, top 5 then, Crioula and Prevezza. Caballo Loco very much in the mix. But really there's very little to choose. Gladiator unfortunately, but Sled then Momo really have got some work to do. They're in 13th, about 100 metres behind. Just when we were saying that they were starting to impose themselves at the top of the table, then just Katie used that wonderful verb, or is it an adverb, soap dishing. Never heard that before.
Never heard it before either.
Every day is a school day, but that was the expression. They were just caught between between two boats and being squeezed out the back and having to tack away. What's your next great word that we don't know, Katie? A great expression.
Oh, that's putting me on the spot, but I'm sure there's plenty that I think are completely normal, and then I say them and everyone's like, what are you talking about?
Anyway, we've only got 3 more regattas to go this season. There's plenty more expressions in Katie's brain that I'm sure we'll enjoy. But what a fantastic race, what a fantastic regatta, and places changing at the top of each race. Everybody having a day in the sun, as it were, in some respects. Crioula then just now with Prevezza. Prevezza really had a pretty disappointing regatta so far. Vayu generally having a pretty solid day with the top scoring boat, or joint top scoring boat on day one. Probably going to be top scoring boat today, aren't they, Momo?
Yeah, no, I think they're looking good. The boat is an older boat. It likes these conditions, and they're taking full advantage of it. I was just about to say that this point in the upwind can be make or break for Alpha Plus and Sled, because right now you need to have the foresight to see how you're going to arrive at the top mark. And right now, you've played the side that you want to, or you've played the side that you've been forced to play, and now it's about positioning yourself to the boats around you, and counting how many maneuvers you're going to have to do and how much time you spend in dirty air of other boats.
On board with Paprec in the bottom half of the fleet once again, unfortunately, at this point. Sled making some small gains. There's 9th or 10th to Alpha Plus's 9th.
Well, the top 3 in the leaderboard are 9th, 10th, and 11th. So every single position that they can gain here might make the difference.
Indeed, we were just starting to see a bit of a pattern. So there's the
Just having said that.
Absolutely. Alpha Plus and Sled finishing the position stayed the same, which he likely won't, but Alpha Plus and Sled still locked on the same points, and then Trinity Racing and Platoon Aviation locked on 50 points. Paprika in 53, Alkedo Vitamina 55, Vayu 55. No way back in 8th. Really, it's not over till it's over, is it, Katie?
very much not. And I think there's going to be so many. I mean, the top third of this Windward mark, I'm expecting to see heaps of place changes. We've got most of the fleet kind of coming in from the left-hand side again, quite a lot of them under lay, still with a couple of tacks to do. You've got some boats that are pretty squeaky on lay already, so like Vayu, I'd say is currently on lay, but they're probably going to have to do a higher, slower mode, so they might get caught up by Trinity behind them. Crioula looking super strong, but they've still got 2 tacks to do. I think it's kind of, at this point, it's anyone's game, and you've got to be doing perfect maneuvers, because every tiny little like meter you can get out of the boat makes such a difference, whether you can tack and cross, whether you can tack in front. It's all super critical up here.
Really tough position for Alpha Plus. They decided to go behind Gladiator, but then exactly in that moment Alkedo decided to tack on them, so it seems like they're going to have to survive there for now, but Sled being in a different position and having a bit more of a clear lane and clear air to do their own thing to the ley line.
So it's all pretty dynamic at the front of the fleet as well. Trinity Racing have a nice high line there, a little bit of a high mode relative to Vayu, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think maybe Vayu have accepted that they're not making the top mark, and then it just doesn't make sense to push the high mode. And Trinity are right on the edge with the ley line, so if they can manage to get to the top mark without 2 tacks, that'll mean leading the race for them.
But this could be a pivotal point of the championship, with Alpha Plus in 14th just now. But just that point really was, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, a few minutes ago we saw them next to each other in the leaderboard on the upwind, and both in equally mediocre positions. And now Sled have just managed to find a bit of a better way to the top mark, and Alpha Plus, struggling behind Alkedo for a while.
But let's see, it's going to be a close mark rounding. Trinity Racing, I think, probably have the better position coming round, don't they?
Yeah, they're just faster, and it seems like they can kind of, if not run over the boats before the mark, but definitely in the rounding. Yeah, that we can see coming into the picture. They're managing just to sail faster, and this is where Vayu is struggling. They're fully in the turbulent air of Trinity. You see them really upright, and they'll be struggling to the mark.
They're running out of breeze, aren't they? Running out of motive power. It's really going to be a tough test for Dylan Whitcraft. But anyway, Trinity Racing, our Swedish team, round in first. Second round of Crioula. Let's keep our eyes on Vayu. Maximum attempt to shoot the mark. The jib is completely back. They're going to be in trouble there, Mobo, aren't they?
Really, really tough.
When they do have mark room on the boats coming in, and they've they've touched the mark, haven't they?
Yeah, I think, definitely looks like they have.
Oh, just when we were saying they could be the top boat for the day, so looking like a penalty for Vayu. That's really disappointing for them. Just when we were saying they could be the top boat for the day. Anyway, Privet's around in third, Teasing Machine in fourth. Vayu will be doing a penalties. Caballo Loco next. Alkedo, Vitamina in seventh.
Gladiator also struggling.
Gladiator also struggling. Sled not coming away from the mark very quickly at all. Allegra rolling over them. Platoon Aviation in ninth. But all kinds of happenings at the top mark. No way back, coming through with reasonable speed there. They've got a nice open lane for the moment. If they can get the kite up, they can get a decent position to attack from down this first run. But Katie, lots of things going on at that mark. But Trinity Racing coming away with a nice little lead.
Yeah, we're kind of seeing a pattern almost at these Windward marks now. The boat that gets round in first kind of gets a bit clear, because it's kind of second, third, fourth, fifth, they're all so racked up that they quite often that bunch behind that first boat or that first two boats gets super slow around the mark because there's so many of them trying to round at once, and it just gives a little bit of a extension to the lead of the front pack. So yeah, we saw that with Vayu and Crioula really struggling to make that mark, just gave Trinity a little bit of breathing space. So now, yeah, they're going to be trying to cover, trying to stay out ahead. But really nice spreader leg by Provezza there. Just kind of watching them, they managed to roll over Crioula, and now they're kind of sat in a pretty tricky place. Or for Crioula, they're going to be thinking about whether they need to jibe out pretty soon, but they'll be living there as long as possible, trying to block Provezza from jibing, and then they're going to probably jibe onto them when they jibe so that they take their air and gain that place back.
The sled losing a little bit, they jibed off early, Momo, didn't they?
Yeah, it's
not with a lot of pace when they came away from
sled, Alpha Plus, and kind of Paprec find himself at the back. So yeah, that little group splitting off, and trying to look for opportunities on the other side of the race course.
But Trinity trundling down this run with a lead of 120, 130.
Yeah, if you're
meters,
if you're ahead, that little group fighting behind them, they'll all be fighting each other and slowly heading up, and all together slowly heading up, and just allows Trinity to pull away with a kind of a lower mode and probably a better VMG.
Indeed, but that leaderboard taking a different perspective now on the strength of Trinity leading this race. Who would have thought? They were, I think, 7th going into the day, but just on the wrong side of that point split as well. But in a 15-boat fleet, you have to just remember that it's too easy to finish in the lower third of the fleet, and suddenly everything changes.
I think where Trinity really shines is kind of in that last part of the beat, coming up to the top mark. They always find themselves in a position which is strong, and they don't go too aggressive there. They rarely have to stop, and they rarely have kind of really low boat speed. Yeah. And I think in that case you saw it well. Vayu wanted too much out of it. They should have taken the double tack earlier, and accepted that they're behind Trinity, but they just had such a tight lay and then got run over and were left with no speed and then a penalty, and it goes downhill from there.
So let's see then, the Swedish team, you have to say contenders for the world title at this point, for sure. Just been chipping away, sticking to the processes every day, every race.
This fleet is incredible. I mean, we weren't even talking about them necessarily at the start of the day. We kind of had our top 5, thinking that the winner might be from those top 5, but you can see how much just chipping away at the leaders can help you climb the leaderboard.
Indeed, Sled in 10th just now, and Alpha Plus in 14th. That was the question that a few people were asking this morning, was could Alpha Plus just keep going with the formula, the level of consistency they'd manage. But really, it's every metre, every place, every point. It's so much determined on that first upwind. Better race for Provezza then, for Santi Lange and Colla Parada, Nacho Postigo and Co.
Yeah, it's good to see in this race the pressure is filled in slightly just by 1 or 2 more knots. And it gives kind of more opportunities on the downwind, and the boats are a little faster. It can also just sail a bit lower. It looks to me like they have also kind of gone for a bigger and deeper kite on this downwind. It's just exactly that crossover of 6 to 7 knots to 8 to 9 knots that lets you change between kind of the A1 and the A1.5.
But Katie, the Swedish team, keeping it simple, sticking to their plans, as you said, or as Momo keeps saying, relatively low risk, trusting in their boat speed, which they clearly have.
Yeah, so I was actually sat with them a couple of days ago at the owners' dinner. I was sat with Marcus, Joachim and Ed, and we were kind of talking about the racing, and they were kind of saying that the way that they're approaching this week and their strategy is very much to kind of keep things super clean, keep things super simple. They're still a pretty new team, the boat's really new, they're still kind of getting to grips with it, and there's constantly things which they're needing to change and they're needing to adapt. And I think we very much seen that reflected in their racing this week. I'm pretty sure most races we see them with a clear lane heading out to the right hand side, not overcomplicating it, not doing a million tacks, not engaging with other boats, and in this race that's really paid off for them. They've just keeping clean, keeping it simple when the fleet is super tight and super tough is really is a really strong move, and it brings consistency.
And once again, just repeating what has been said about the Swedish team already, certainly in Puerto Portals in the lead up to the first regatta of the season. Just they have such a work rate, such a work ethic, such a drive to keep improving. Starting obviously from ground zero, they had a great program through the winter, training on the Cape 31. They had a Cape 31 based out of Palma, and they really drove a little training program. Sometimes they were just on their own. I think they ended up with 5 boats at the Sofia Regatta, which they won, and then as soon as the new boat was launched, they'd done a reasonable number of miles, a reasonable number of days together on the Cape 31, and I think that's all been to the good Momo.
Yeah, I think also a Cape 31 is a good platform to practice before sailing your TP52. It's smaller, but it's similar. It's just very dependent of crew coordination and kind of working together as a team, and then you scale that up to TP52, and I think it's kind of the perfect boat to practice throughout the winter.
Did you have a good chance to have a look at the boat at all?
Yeah, no, Capes are like, I sailed one in Cape Town before.
No, sorry, I mean the Trinity. You've looked closer at the boat, have you?
Looked closer at the boat, talked to kind of the guys from Platoon, and it comes out of the whole, the same hull mold as Allegri and Platoon. And just building the boat 2 years later than the other ones means that you could kind of combine the learnings of the 2 really experienced teams ahead of you. And I think they've done a really good job of that. They haven't had to go through these many iterations of keel fins that Platoon has had to do and Allegri have had to do.
But there's some nice systems on board. I don't know whether you got a chance to look.
Yeah,
and if not, you need to get invited.
I've just heard about them kind of installing cameras everywhere and starting to kind of use AI to analyze sail shape and to...
Well, that's the interesting thing is that Joachim has written his own programs, and he does all the analysis himself, or he leads the analysis, and very, very clever guy.
Yeah, I think
but as he said to us several times in Puerto Portals, he's there to learn, but the team is a very flat structure, as it were, and he says if the bins need to be taken out, he'll be taking the bins out. He's lifting sails, he's doing everything to increase his learning, but he's a very humble guy, and really the other asset that we keep being told he's maximum concentration, very, very focused through the races, and that's essential on a day like this, isn't it?
Yeah, you could. I mean, also having Ross Halcrow as a head sail trimmer, you could just see him on the downwind, and he doesn't hold that kite sheet still for 1 second. He's constantly working it, constantly talking to the driver, and it shows you how getting a few guys that are very experienced on your new team can speed up that learning process.
So anyway, other than that, Paprec in 7th just now of our contenders, as it were. Platoon Aviation in 9th. Sled and Alpha Plus then have work to do, but they're both in the same third of the fleet, as it were, but this is all to the good of Trinity Racing just now. Let's have a quick look before the we can't not yet, but once we get up this second upwind, we'll have a look at the projected points standings. But for sure, this is all to the good of the team from Sweden. Bow number 3, and they're coming through the leeward gate now. Katie, talk us through this leeward gate rounding.
Yeah, so you've got Trinity going around the right-hand mark looking downwind. I think Crioula actually has gained a tiny bit of distance forward towards them, but they're opting to split to the other mark. It's pretty light down here at the moment, actually. I think the bearing for the next windward mark is the same. So again, super kind of stable breeze in terms of no shifting, but I think the pressure feels slightly lighter down here again. Yeah, Trinity gone around that right-hand mark looking downwind, and they've opted to kind of go around that, tack back to try and cover Crioula, who is just going round now, which is the same strategy that Vayu had in the last race, and that was pretty strong for them. The only thing is they are now sailing through quite a bit of dirty air, so they'll be quite slow until they get through that, probably for another minute or so, and then they should be clear. But these top 3 boats have got a little bit of a gap. We've got we've got heaps of boats coming in all at the same time now, to be honest with you, but these top 3 boats have got a little bit of distance behind them.
But yeah, very, very close here with the teasing machine on the inside of Caballo Loco on the outside. All 3 boats there going round overlapped. Maybe a little chance for some of the boats behind to compress in. Katie, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I did hear a whistle at some point a second ago as well, so I'm wondering if there's been a penalty on this mark with Caballo Loco, teasing machine and Allegre. I'm not sure what the situation was, but I most definitely heard a whistle.
Just looking at Paprec on the right-hand mark, looking upwind, and slightly slow spinnaker drop, and they seem to be quite slowed there, Momo, don't they, Paprec?
Yeah, it's as Katie said, the wind is dropping a little bit towards this leeward gate, and then
I think they've got the kite in the water, have they? I'm not sure. They're
maybe
very slow, yeah. Just taking a few seconds to get things sorted out. It's costing them boats on the inside as a Gladiator going round.
Yeah, good point from Manu Weiler yesterday at the debrief. But turning around the mark, the leeward gate, the driver has to point and just follow the heading. It might feel really bad and it might feel really slow, but you can't, be incentivized to press down the boat and look for the pressure, because you'll be just going in the totally wrong direction. So he was kind of coaching Don just to turn around the mark and look at the numbers and actually not listening to your to the feeling you have in that exact moment.
So there you go, there's our projected points. If positions stay the same, Sled ahead of Alpha Plus ahead of Sled on this race just now, and things moving back in their direction. Alpha Plus in 44 for Sled, Trinity Racing in 48, Alkedo Vitamina 51, Platoon Aviation 52, and Paprec dropping to 6th now on 54 points, no way back, 7th on 60. So the balance tipping back very slightly in favour of the duo Sled and Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus just ahead on the water, but that's going to be a really, really exciting battle through to the finish line between the two of them. That's our main focus just now, Momo, isn't it, really?
Yeah, both boats did a good job of setting up the leeward gate early and staying out of the action. As much as the top mark, there are quite a few places to be lost or to be gained at the bottom mark.
I mean, both super experienced team, and that's where the experience comes in, isn't it? Just eyes out the boat, anticipating what's going to happen on the mark grounding, and trying to avoid the raft ups and the boats which are slowed down on the mark.
And just having the experience to know exactly how many maneuvers you're still going to have to do, and basically from the midpoint of the downwind, already counting the jives, especially in this light breeze, and looking at where the other boats have potential to come and attack you.
Indeed, it's such a good point there, Momo. I think, and again, I always cite Edo Stead as really one of the strongest in that department, thinking ahead and being able to stick to strategy. And very much working as a tactician on his own, really, isn't he?
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's different, but different to the Brains Trust on sled, where you've got Andrea Vicentini, the navigator, and Murray Jones and Francesco Bruni all collaborating together. And on the Alpha Plus, it's very much Edo working with Ian Moore. But Trinity Racing leading this race and moving themselves up to third overall on the strength of a really solid day for them. But still a fair bit to go in this race, Katie, isn't there? Breeze still seems to be quite settled, though, doesn't it? There's no at this point yesterday, I think we were starting to see a few more kind of sparkly white horses and things. Just a little bit more wind pressure, wasn't there? This is staying relatively quiet today, Katie, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. It feels like it's not quite fully kind of established itself. Direction is pretty steady, but yeah, it feels like it's coming, like building slightly by a couple of knots and then dropping by a couple of knots. So I do think it is a big pressure day, head out for pressure. But Trinity doing a really nice job of kind of staying between the fleet and the mark, and going around that right-hand mark looking downwind, tacking on top of Crioula just to keep themselves in between them and the mark, doing a kind of soft cover. I think watching Alpha Plus and Sled as kind of the top two on the overall. Alpha Plus done a really nice job. They are in a slightly compromised little lane, I think, heading out to that right-hand side, but Sled has had to do more tacks. They've been kind of more battling out in the fleet, trying to find a lane towards that left-hand side. So it's two kind of different strategies. Alpha Plus trying to keep it simple and clearly liking that right-hand side to be sat in a slightly dirty lane. They clearly want that right-hand side, and we'll see whether Sled's extra tacks have cost them or whether that left-hand side is more powerful.
Certainly Sled have the more open lane and able to let the boat do the work, as it were. And we'll see how they converge back into the fleet up towards the windward mark. But this has been a kind of moving day in some senses, isn't it, Momo?
Yeah, but I think it's amazing to see that the top teams just, they don't fall back and then stay there. They find the little opportunities and stay out of the fights or pick the fights when needed, and often then win those fights. It's interesting to see that all the whole fleet electing to sail to the right here.
For sure, Alpha Plus in a position to consolidate really there, aren't they?
Yeah, and will probably be looking at Sled and seeing in which position they are, but they just did a nice job of finding a relatively clear lane, slightly compromised, but they're going over to the side, and I have a feeling they will try and be keeping it simple.
Get out to ley line or close to it, and owning the right, owning starboard. But not such a brilliant day for Trinity Racing so far. This is a day they needed to be top threes, top fours.
Yeah, struggling today.
It's interesting, yesterday we're talking with Harm, and he certainly came ashore with a big smile, just feeling like they were contenders once again. But everything can change by the end of tomorrow. But ninth in this fleet is not really what he wanted today. So that would be a 1 point lead at the moment. The projected results, projected standings going into the final day, but everything can change if they remember at this point. Last month in Puerto Portals, it was Provezza were going into Provezza were going into the last day with the lead, and we're starting to think of them winning a regatta, and I think one of the key things here, by comparison with that regatta, is we will expect the same breeze, the same broader course geometry. Whereas the big difference in Portals was we suddenly went into an offshore breeze, a shifty offshore breeze, and it was a case of picking a side, and Provezza ended up on the wrong side of both the first upwinds, and Sled nailed it in terms of their percentages, winning the first race of the day and then consolidating, I think, the second race. But
I think you can really see how sailing here and all these days having relatively similar conditions, how the teams are learning.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly, adjusting how much risk they do at the start, where to start. The good teams are adapting to what they're seeing and are, improving incrementally. And if you just have very similar conditions each day, you can, very much build on what you had the day before and react to the conditions that you are starting to learn.
I mean, I think Trinity is the case in point there, aren't they? Where they've had a broad-brushed kind of strategies that were keeping it very simple, but then just fine-tuning and just improving incrementally every day, little bits and pieces.
I think Trinity have been able to find kind of the strategy that works for them as quicker than any other boat. And it's probably the boat that you see that kind of always does a relatively similar start, and it just it matches their style of sailing and their strategy, and it works for them. And if it works, why change it?
That's right, and of course the white shoes are vital on the Trinity. Everybody wearing these white shoes. I'm not sure how long. Wonder where they get washed between regattas.
I don't think you want to know.
Yeah, well, it was interesting. We had a little bit of a chuckle with Ed Baird in Puerto Portal, asking if it's part of the programme a clear choice. He said, no, we just got white shoes. And was not really participating in our sense of humour at that point. But, I mean, once again, massive credit to Ed. He is... really masterminded this program, and he said at the beginning of the week that really they were approaching this as not really as a world championship, it's the next regatta, just taking it day by day, step by step, always trying to get better every single day, and they're going to be contenders, I think, come tomorrow, or going into tomorrow.
I think what you could see up in this upwind is that they just have a bit more pressure towards the top mark. And having such a long upwind with very light pressure at the bottom and sailing into more pressure just keeps the trimmers on their toes, constantly changing setup, going from a very deep and powerful setup to more flatter sails. Watching there in our picture there is Sled come back across. They've been able to sail the numbers all the way up this beat. They'll tuck it, I think, just behind Alpha Plus. Anyway, round the top mark, Katie, it's Trinity Racing, isn't it? Joachim Sundberg there on the helm.
Yeah, Trinity done a really nice job of that upwind, keeping it simple. I think just, two manoeuvres, one tack round the leeward marks and then tack on the ley line, got the ley line really nicely. Looked like Crioula went slightly over the ley line, which has given Trinity a little bit more of a breather. They're kind of just about to go around the spreader leg as Criola's just gone around the Windward, so they've got about a spreader's length gap, and now it's just going to be about protecting that. And as the wind is kind of getting softer down towards the bottom of the course, it's just making sure you position yourself so that your air is protected and that you're not compromised in any way.
So Provezza round next, then Alkedo.
Interesting to see Alpha Plus and Sled coming together again at this mark.
They seem to have both managed to pull back a couple of places, I think.
Yeah.
So Alkedo round in fourth. Not too many opportunities down this final run, I don't think. Teasing Machine next, they've had a good race. And then close with Alpha Plus just coming across on port, and we'll tuck in there. Just tacking now.
And just one boat between them and Sled. So yeah, those two have found each other again.
Yeah. However, the key thing is that it is Alpha Plus who are ahead. Allegra just in front of them. Only a couple of boat lengths between Allegra and Alpha Plus. But relatively sedate conditions there down this final run. I think Allegra 6th just now. Again, a solid result for them. Still learning. Alpha Plus have got Platoon between them and Sled now, which has to be good for them, isn't it?
Yeah, that definitely helps them. But also, yeah, interesting upwind. I think Sled did actually gain a little on them. But yeah, just coming into the top mark, Alpha Plus did a nice job and didn't go kind of too aggressive and managed to find a way in there on the ley line.
It's a fairly steady one-sided run, a procession down this final run of the day. Race number 8, penultimate day of the ROLEX TP52 World Championship. Everything very, very much in the balance on board with 3 times world champions, Platoon Aviation. Thinking probably they've got too much to do now to imagine them being on top of the podium tomorrow. And Vasco, I think, showing his frustration there. I think this is the point. Then they maybe realise what they have to do tomorrow. But I mean, anything can happen. And remember, this is a 15-boat fleet, the biggest fleet ever. But all to the good for Alpha Plus just now. They'll have a buffer of 1 boat. Let's look at the projected standings. Alpha Plus would finish the day with a 1-point lead over Sled. Trinity Racing on 48, 51 to Alkedo. Platoon Aviation will be 51, that's 8 points behind. I mean, anything could happen, really. Paprec 54, Crioula 62. I mean, Crioula, once again, you know, it's not spectacular, but it's just steady as they were in Puerto Portals. Coming away with 7th, I think. Something to build on. No way back. 62 also for Provetza. Vayu 64, 66 Allegra, 69 for Teasing Machine. Gladiator 85, Caballo Loco 88, and Vudu into 3 figures. But really, when you look at that leaderboard, you consider what could happen tomorrow. It's really it's mouth-watering, isn't it, Momo?
Yeah, I'm really impressed. Alpha Plus have kind of managed to keep that top spot. Or looking like they're managing to keep that top spot. But I do like Sled's position, just 1 point behind the regatta leader. It's a nice position to be in. Really not far off, but it's also not yours to lose.
But I think credit to Alpha Plus, and just as you said, they've had their moments today when they've been, you know, on the back foot as it were, but they've fought back. And they've done the next right thing always, as Katie likes to say, and I think it's working in their favour. I mean, getting a boat between them and Sled, I think it's a big morale boost for them just now, Katie, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think, as we keep saying, every single point is critical, and if they can keep that platoon between them, then that's really powerful. I mean, being 1 point ahead rather than on joint points going into the final day of racing, it kind of shifts the mindset completely, because you kind of just, it makes the goal a little bit easier. You have to just kind of be in front rather than be in front by a certain number of points and things like that. But I mean, there is still 30 points available tomorrow, and we've seen that today with Trinity kind of suddenly coming into the picture and being contenders. 2 races is massive, and I think kind of reflecting on what I was saying earlier about whether do you start thinking about the overall series or do you start thinking race by race, and actually after today I'm thinking you just need to think about the races that are happening right here right now, because the margins are so small and the points are so tight, and there is so many points available that you can't write anyone off, and you just can't take anything for granted.
So Alpha Plus jibing away there, I think in a little lane of pressure. I think just moving quite quickly. Sled electing to carry on as indeed Platoon have. What do you think, Momo?
Yeah, a little bit of a split, but it's a confident move of Alpha Plus. I think they saw that little bit of pressure and they took it out of there, which was probably a good move. Also, maybe nice for them that Platoon and Sled didn't go with them.
And they seem to be moving down a little bit onto Allegre. Not so much between them, only 50-60 metres at the top of the run, but beautiful images there. It's kind of almost like virtual reality, isn't it, when you look at the kite shape and everything else on the Trinity. Teasing machine out on that left side looking downwind. Platoon and Sled carrying on. Still think this could be some close finishes, Katie, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's still, I mean, the fact that not everyone's kind of carried on in a procession to the ley line and jibe, like there has been some jibes out early, and I think there is, still plenty of racing to be had, and it's all about kind of positioning yourself to come back into this finish strong. I think there is still, there's still spots of pressure to be had, and there is still gains to be made here, so they need to be fully switched on all the way to the finish line here.
I think Allegre has an interesting position here in the fight, because they're kind of slowly moving up on Alpha Plus, and this could kind of also, potentially push Alpha Plus back if they get into a little fight that's just not needed for Alpha Plus.
No, indeed. Once again, just looking how Trinity Racing are sailing quite nice and deep there, aren't they?
Yeah, really nice deep mode. Being the first just means you can kind of stretch your legs and extend your lead, sail to the numbers, upwind just as much as downwind.
So then that's interesting then. Sled and Platoon seem to have swapped places. That balance changing. I'm not sure whether that's temporary just now. Maybe Sled have jibed earlier, I think.
Platoon jibed out earlier, and Sled elected to keep on going. So you've got Alpha Plus, Platoon, and Sled now all at different points on this downwind. So it's kind of all up to the finish where and how they will converge.
Indeed, let's keep an eye on that with Sled on board briefly with Platoon Aviation. Sled going to come in from the right looking downwind with more pace, you'd imagine. Could be super close on the finish line. But massive credit to Ed Baird, Joachim Sundberg, Jon Barn and co on Trinity Racing. Really, they've had a really strong day, haven't they, Momo?
Yeah, really, really strong day. It's just a good combination, and I think they've really been able to just improve also throughout the regatta. And for such a new team, that every day on the water is a day in which you learn a lot, especially for a new driver. And just having Ed Baird and Ross Halco around him to coach him and to improve his driving is working for them well.
Good races for Crioula and Preveza. We're going to focus very much on the battle between Alpha Plus and Sled and Platoon Aviation. Who's going to come through the finish line ahead? If they're neck and neck, if they're seventh and eighth, if Alpha Plus are seventh with a boat between them, then they will lead the final or the standings going into tomorrow clearly. And there we go. Ed Baird really happy with that one. Massive thanks and kudos to owner driver Joachim Sundberg. Ed Baird taking the helm, and that will put them, I think, in third place overall. And in the end, quite a comfortable lead, Katie, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They just kind of kept it simple, did what they needed to do, didn't overcomplicate, didn't add extra manoeuvres, didn't unnecessarily take risks on ley lines. Yeah, I think they can be super happy with that one and take a lot of confidence from it going into tomorrow as contenders for the World Championships podium, which is pretty epic.
So then Crioula through and then Preveza. Trinity going 3-1 for the day. I think probably our top boat. Pretty impressive. Then Preveza coming through in third. Alkedo will get fourth.
It looks like Alpha Plus have, managed to stay just ahead of Sled and Platoon. Again, I think today they had a bit of a trickier day, but
they've come away with it with some credit.
Yeah,
I would say.
Still that confidence from yesterday there.
Allegra then just ahead of them. There'll be a couple of boat lengths behind, and Sled just behind them with some pace, and actually is looking quite good for me for Sled against Platoon Aviation, isn't it, Momo? I would say.
Yes, yeah, I think, good move on Sled just to keep on going there a little.
Yeah, so there we go. Allegra through now in 6th, 7th for Alpha Plus. Platoon Aviation, we're on starboard, of course, and actually they're just crossing ahead, but it's still going to be quite close. I think Platoon Aviation just closing down the finish line, shorter distance, more direct course, and they will just come through now, which puts a boat between them and Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus get the lead by a clear point going into the final day. And Sled, I mean, they've done well considering where they ended up coming off the start line. As Katie said, soap dished, forced attack out from a tight sandwich. And work themselves back. But in the end, Alpha Plus are going to lead into the final day of the World Championship. Not something that too many of our pundits would be predicting, but massive credit to Sean and Tina Kang and their team. They're a very, very hard-working team. The catalyst, I think, for their step up and level was Edo Stead joining the team last year. And we saw that in Puerto Portales when they finished on the podium. And we're focusing very, very much on the here and now in this situation. But these have been the conditions that you can anticipate that kind of a team like them coming and performing at the level they've done. Very even boat speeds on this racetrack. And boats coming through the finish line. Caballo Loco are through, then Vudu, and unfortunately it's a deep one. It's a hard, heavy score for No Way Back.
Yes, beginning the day kind of in the top 5 and having some, contention for the top spot. And whereas Trinity has managed to work their way up, No Way Back has
managed to work their way down.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But it's such as the nature of this fleet. There is no easy passes. There's no easy results. Everybody is at such an even level. and particularly on this race course, the gains are tiny. Certainly today, I think probably Katie and Momo, this has been the toughest day, hasn't it, in terms of the fleet and in terms of the conditions. Very, very even. No, as you say, Katie, no obvious gain feature, has there? Well, you, Momo, we've lost Katie. I hope she's coming back. Sorry, go ahead, Katie. I'm just saying it's been the toughest day so far, hasn't it, really?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we thought yesterday was tricky, and we were saying yesterday was kind of like a really tricky day for your head if you're a tactician, and I think today has been even more so because it's been a super open race course. It's been all about, I mean, everything is so critical. Every manoeuvre, the starts, every knot or point of a knot of boat speed is super critical, and mistakes are so punishing, and it's just been a really, really tricky day and really punishing for those teams who haven't got it right.
Indeed, just thinking about that start for sled, they pushed the risk a little bit more, and they ended up at the pin end. That was their choice, and then it didn't pay off for them, and suddenly they're on the back foot more than we've seen certainly for a few days with Alpha Plus. A little bit similar situation, just not being able to impose themselves, although they had a good start. They just ended up a little bit in the traffic. But that second beat, I think, was key for them, Momo, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was absolutely essential, and just gaining those few spots back. And I think what was essential for both Sled and Alpha Plus was staying out of the, out of the other boat's way on the leeward gate, and actually gaining places, letting the other boats fight each other.
Anyway, let's have a look at the standings as we go into the final day, into the big Super Saturday showdown for the ROLEX TP52 World Championship 2026. Alpha Plus then, Sean and Tina's Kang's team from Hong Kong on 43 points, 44 points for Sled, 48 points for Trinity Racing in third, 51 for Alkedo Vitamina in fourth, 51 for Platoon Aviation, a pretty heavy day for them with 18 points. Paprec in sixth now, a 19-point day for them. Really their worst day since the worst day of the regatta so far. Just looking at it, Crioula then in seventh. I find them impressive just the way they keep chipping away. That's second for them. Giving them a good second places, but 62 points for Crioula, 62 points for No Way Back, 62 points for Provezza, 63 for Vayu. So really mid-fleet positions wide open going into tomorrow. Allegra 66, 69 for Teasing Machine, 84 for Gladiator, 91 for Caballo Loco and Vudu. Unfortunately, just very much the new kids on the block learning their marks here in the TP52 class here in Porto CERVO. What a fantastic day's racing, but tomorrow it's going to be absolutely edge of your seat stuff all the way through the two races tomorrow. Conditions I think will be much the same, but do join us then. Once again, fantastic work from both Momo here in the slightly sweaty studio and Katie down in the beautiful fresh open air of the yacht club of Costa Smeralda. Join us again tomorrow, and let's see who are going to be the 2026 world champions.
I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop the unbreakable? I am unbreakable. I am unstoppable. I am an animal. How can they stop the unbreakable?
At Palm Beach Motor Yachts, we build for those who lead. This comes from our history in competitive ocean racing, where advanced technologies and a spirit to win shape our every advantage on the water. We carry those lessons into every motor yacht that we design and build, using efficient and balanced hulls to deliver performance that feels effortless. Paired with meticulous craftsmanship and engineering, it creates a quiet confidence you can sense the moment you take the helm. Palm Beach Motor Yachts, from ocean racing innovation to cruising perfection.
You got to leave your space. Cause that's the only way you're gonna elevate. Yeah, you gotta hold the line till it's showtime. Yeah, and just let your spirit shine. Well, sometimes there ain't no easy way to say all the things that we need to say. And we spend so much time looking for the easy road when all we need is right there in our soul. Say what good is life if all you do is hide? Oh yeah, you gotta shine your light for the world to see. And let everything be what it's gonna be. Yeah, listen to your voice and make up your choice. And just let your spirit shine. Well, sometimes there ain't no